I had the opportunity when I was with Bob Knight. I did. I had the opportunity to sit with Parcells and Belichick when Belichick was a young assistant. They would come during the combine and they would come to Bloomington and we'd go to lunch or we'd hang out in the locker room. And I remember the discussion one day of every game is different. The game is ever changing. The games are organic. And you can't sit there and say, well, we had a plan. That's our number. That's our number. Or you can't worry about whatever happened in the previous play. As he said, you just can't simply do it. I'm sorry. Now, you got to, that play happened. We got to move to the other play, particularly late in the game. You don't have time. So if your number was 46, it's a stupid number because the guys never heard of it. The guys never hit a field goal from there. So the number should have been 42. I don't know. But this is where analytics gets in your way. I applaud Hackett for having a plan, and I applaud Hackett for explaining that plan. But again, I will always go back to this. I had the three greatest minds maybe ever in coaching, Belichick, Knight, and Parcells. And we're talking about situations exactly like that. And in those situations, you got to figure on the fly. And he didn't. And it cost him. Now, it didn't cost him. Who cares what some slap writes? But I will tell you this. In your first game as a coach in the NFL, you want to get above, beyond the media. You want to get ahead of all of the critics. You want them to be working uphill to appease you. Brian Daboll is a perfect example. Brian Daboll understood, look, the Giants coach, I go for two and miss it. Hey, so what? Who cares? We weren't expected to be in this position anyway. I go for two and I make it. I'm a hero. But that's actually not what he was thinking. What he was thinking was, Brian Daboll, with the Giants, that he understood he had a play that could win the game. He knew earlier in the game, this is from Urban Meyer too, he knew earlier in the game that something happened that was going to allow Saquon Barkley to go off the right side. He knew that. And so Brian Daboll had absolute confidence 10 plays before. If we score a touchdown, we're running this based on what happened earlier in the game. This may be boring, nerdy coaching stuff, but this is the stuff that you're never going to hear from a media. Daboll didn't say, well, if we lose, it doesn't matter. If we win, I'm a hero. You don't think that way. Yeah, a loss doesn't matter what anybody writes about you. A loss matters what happens in your soul when you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning after a loss and you're done for the night. You know you're done for the night. You know when you go to bed, the minute you wake up to go to the bathroom, something wakes you up, it hits you. Boom. Oh, man, a loss. And you cannot wake and go back to bed. You cannot go back to bed. So the stupidity of the media of Daboll knew that he was a hero if he made it. Didn't matter if he didn't. Same thing with Hackett is idiotic. It doesn't factor in. Believe me when I tell you this. I coached for 22 years, 25 years, whatever it was. 27 years. Don't even think that that factors in. No. Daboll had a plan. Hackett had a plan. Good coaches have plans. But great coaches adjust those plans. And frankly, Hackett didn't.